Speaking.
Hey, Dr. Strange, this is Dr. Quinzel. I just wanted to...
Dr. Quinzel, it's been quite some time. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm better. Yeah, the doctor said it wasn't too bad. It was really no big deal.
I see.
So anyway, I really just called to ask you...
Dr. Quinzel, should I be expecting you back at work tomorrow? I understand your situation, but it's been 4 days. Things have been growing hectic back here, and I need you back as soon as possible.
Yeah, Shit, Brucey, not now. Go, bag dog.
Dr. Quinzel?
Sorry, it was just my dog. He gets a bit rowdy when I don't give him his attention. You know how they are.
I wouldn't know. Now, can you answer my question? Can you come back to work tomorrow?
Yes, of course, I can totally come back to work tomorrow. Whenever you need me, I'll be there.
Glad to hear it. Be prepared for a new schedule as soon as you get back.
What's this about a new schedule? Is there something wrong with my old one?
Nothing was wrong with it. I just had developed a new one in your absence. I believed it fits in more with the current dynamic of things.
Okay. Well, just to let you know, I can still totally take on my old schedule. It's really no problem. I'm perfectly capable.
Nobody is saying you weren't capable, Dr. Quinzel. This is simply just a new direction for the betterment of the facility. Besides, I've already given many of your patients over to Dr. Crane's jurisdiction. Simply put, there is no going back on this decision. If you have a complaint, take it up with me in person.
I understand.
Have a good day, Dr. Quinzel.
You really want to play that bad, Brucey? Alright, but only for a few minutes. Mama's still got some things to do that don't revolve around you, you little goblin. Such a good boy. Want to go outside? Of course you want to go outside.
This session is being recorded by Dr. Jonathan Crane. The patient is named Pamela Isley, also known as Poison Ivy. The patient is said to suffer from histrionic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and C-PTSD. The patient also possesses a psychedelic touch, capable of invoking hallucinations caused by a peculiar chemical imbalance she's had since birth. Session 2.
I thought I had told you last time to never call me that name again.
It was only for the recording, Pamela. I certainly remember your demands and will refrain from referring to you as that name for the rest of our session.
Why is it always about Ivy? It's never been about Pamela. You even put up glass to separate us. Am I really that unlikable to the point that you'd isolate me?
Blame the escape of Julian Day and the current hospitalization of Dr. Quinzel for that decision. Dr. Strange installed the glass as a safety precaution to make escape during sessions a harder endeavor. It has nothing to do with you, but I'll admit that it does ease my mind knowing we can't make physical contact.
I wouldn't even touch you if I could help it. If anything, there's no reason to even keep me here. I'm practically cured, Dr. Crane. I did some reflecting. I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm not the same person I was before.
Is that so?
Yes, I've changed. Do you not believe me? Why can't people just trust me for once? I don't belong in such a dreary place.
If I am to believe your words, then I guess our session ends here. I'll leave you be. Goodbye, Pamela.
Wait! Don't go! Not yet, please!
Good to see my assertions ring true. We still have much to discuss.
No, I've changed. It's just... you tricked me. You manipulated me. You lied. You're scum just like the rest of them. I can't trust you. I won't.
Pamela, I understand you're under distress, but I only wish to prove a point. The moment you can live independently without your secret needs for affirmation and companionship is the day my goal is complete.
I don't have any secret desires. I didn't like you leaving so abruptly. I still don't need you.
Well, I promise I won't leave if that means anything. Regardless, I'll still need you to calm down and talk with me.
It's easy for you to talk about calming down. You haven't been in my shoes. You haven't felt what I've felt.
Try me. For today's session, I would like to talk to you about your past before you moved to Gotham, before you encountered Batman, before coming to Arkham. More specifically, I want you to talk about your first victim, the one who started it all.
I thought we were going to be talking about me. That freak doesn't matter. He was a horrible, lying scum, and I'd like to believe no one misses him.
I would have to disagree with that notion, Pamela. Your first documented victim was Brett Connors. It's stated you two first met back in college. Many say he had a promising future in football and was quite popular in his community. He died in a car crash where coroners stated his blood work made it look like he had done just about half of the shrooms in the state. The natural conclusion at first was that he was suffering from a severe fungal overdose and crashed. But it was revealed a week or so later that you were behind the young man's passing. Now, shall we talk about it?
You're just horrible, Doctor. Taking me back to a time like that is shameful.
But it's all true. Everything I had stated is self-evident fact reported on in full by a number of tabloids and articles.
While you may be correct, those articles are all missing out on the most important side of the story. My side. The reason why that vile weed had to be removed.
And that is what I want to learn about. Explain all that you are willing to share.
And you had better listen, even if I know you won't understand.
Listening is just part of the job. I'll be taking in every word with great intrigue.
When my parents first learned about my touch, they made the decision to isolate me from other people as a child, out of fear I'd accidentally harm someone. My life in those formative years was simple. I studied with my mom, took care of the plants she'd give me if I was good, and not much else. Outside of my parents, I had no one to talk to laugh with. It was an awfully lonely time in my life. If it weren't for the plants to keep me occupied, I don't think I would have made it through that point in my life.
I apologize for interrupting, but I'd just like to ask a question. If your parents were so adamant on your isolation, then how did you convince them to let you go to college? Did you perhaps...
Are you suggesting I used my touch on my own parents? Dr. Crane, I wasn't that desperate. My parents were already thinking of letting me go after I got a scholarship anyway, so there was really no point. All I had to do was talk to them, and their decision was set.
Very well. Now, carry on.
Once I got to college, the loneliness didn't go away. I wasn't necessarily hated. That would require people to care. I was just uninteresting, bland, boring. My condition was the exception. Actually, it was because of my condition that Brett Connors talked to me in the first place.
Continue.
Usually people were scared when it came to my touch. Lots of people thought it was some sort of disease. That, or people would be curious, but only enough to ask questions and never make contact. But Brett was different. Unlike everyone else, he wanted a taste of what I could do.
And why do you think he wanted something like that?
He was a massive thrill-seeker. He most likely just wanted to be seen as a big, strong man who could say he experienced my touch and lived to tell the tale. He frequently asked me to touch him. Naturally, I was too scared to ever use it at the time, so I would decline whenever he asked. But one day I noticed a change.
What kind of change?
He started wanting to know more about me. He was interested in my hobbies, my habits. He even wanted to hang out with me. For the first time in my life, someone seemed to actually care about me for who I really was. A person. So the next time Brett asked for my touch, I gave it to him. How could I have possibly said no? He was being so nice to the point I considered him my first ever friend.
And what happened when you touched him? How did he react?
When I touched him, everything at that moment just felt right. He told me I was a miracle, that my touch felt like heaven, and that he loved it. For the first time, I felt important. No, I felt loved. The sensation would eventually wear off, but after that day, he would always come to visit me. I would touch him whenever he pleased, which was often. I was happy to do it, but it began to lose its luster for me. I started to crave something more. I wanted to express myself beyond just contact. I wanted to show him my soul. But any time I tried, he didn't care. Frankly, he never did. I learned that the hard way when I heard he was dating someone else while using me just to feel pleasure.
And I assume after that you tried to kill him.
I didn't just kill him. I exploited every bit of my chemistry and smothered him with it. I didn't want love anymore. I wanted control. He used me and treated me more like a drug to get hooked on than a person worth loving. And I finally succeeded in getting something I wanted. When the deed was done, I convinced him to take a drive, knowing he was unfit. He would crash. He would die. And I reveled. At least I did until I was caught. I was sent to a correctional facility, all while being demonized to hell and back. Everyone agreed that Brett Connors was an innocent victim who suffered at my hands.
Thank you for sharing, Pamela. Now, can you...
But my pain didn't just end with that. No. I was bailed out a month later and put to work by some bloated scientist named Ian Spencer. He told me I had potential. Really, he wasn't talking about me, but my condition. He got me out of Seattle and moved me to Gotham, where he'd use me to make Eden Spring, an intense psychedelic drug made with my blood. I was violated. And even when I would try to protest and leave him, he'd hang my crime over my head and shame me so I could never leave.
Why didn't you use your touch on Dr. Spencer?
It wouldn't have worked. Even if I let him die, I wouldn't have anywhere to go. Besides, he had already created a salve that could negate my touch entirely. It was all pointless. During that whole point in my life, I was hopeless.
I can see why. I had my fair share of issues in the past myself. I know what it feels like to go through a violation of your body and mind.
You do? If you aren't lying, then... I'm sorry you went through that.
No need to say sorry. It was a long time ago and I grew from it. I'm where I need to be now. Tell me, how did you get through your trials?
To get through those experiments and tests, I began to obsess. I was obsessing over a savior. Someone who would punish evil and bring light to victims like me.
You're talking about the Batman?
Who else would I be talking about? He's Gotham's #1 trending topic. Of course I'd be talking about him. He was everything I'd wanted. A virtuous man who would protect me and shield me from the pain of the world. For so long I waited for the day he'd come along and save me from that doctor.
And if I'm to remember correctly, you got your wish. Ian Spencer was arrested for drug manufacturing, and the rest of his workers arrested for selling.
It was wonderful. Thanks to Batman, I was free to live my life. I was free from experiments. I had a man who cared for me in Batman. I was finally capable of living the life I wanted to live. At least, that's what I thought.
The tragic tale of Pamela Isley never seems to end, does it?
That's for certain. I would never catch a break thanks to my criminal record. Money was running short for me, I couldn't get a job, and the loneliness continued to creep in with no Batman in sight for me. So I did what I had to do. I decided to start up the manufacturing of Eden Spring again under my alias of Poison Ivy. I would no longer hide from my touch, but embrace it. Being normal Pamela Isley would never work. That much was clear. I had to embody the only thing I was worth. My touch.
The idea of controlling the very thing that tormented you is commendable. I'd certainly have done the same if I were in your shoes.
Of course you would. It's only logical. I was able to control my chemistry the way I wanted. I was able to force some miserable junkies to help sell the drug under my jurisdiction. And most of all, I knew it would lure Batman to me. He tried to stop me, but I thought I could convince him and show him I was justified.
And I assume it failed.
Eventually, yes. It failed. He would find a way to negate my touch, end the manufacturing and selling of Eden Spring, and send me to the GCPD's doorstep. I was put on trial, deemed insane, and now I'm here in Arkham Asylum. It's obvious now that Batman would never love me. But I don't get it. Here he likes that stupid cat burglarizing hussy, but not me. We're both branded as criminals, but she gets a pass, but I'm left to rot. None of it makes sense. All men ever do is lie and make no sense. But maybe you're all right, Dr. Crane.
I just want to help you, Pamela. The story you shared connected with me more than you'd ever know. That's no lie. You being so vulnerable yourself even shows that you trust me, at least subconsciously.
I want to believe that you're trustworthy, Dr. Crane. You haven't exploited me yet. You asked questions, you listened to my story, and you seem to understand the feeling. But after all I went through, I don't know how to feel.
Pamela, I want to see you grow stronger. The abuse and manipulation upsets me greatly, and I want to see you move past this. I'm going to suggest something exclusive, only for the patients I'm willing to go above and beyond for.
What is it?
Dr. Strange likes to call them advanced sessions. It's only for those we deem special and in dire need of help. For me, you are my top priority. More than any other patient, I can relate to you most. To see you flourish would make me the happiest man in this asylum, and I'm sure it'll help you too.
You really think so? Do you think I'm worth something like that?
You're already well on your way. I'm just here to help, Pamela. Will you accept it?
I'll do it. Please, Dr. Crane. If I could finally be able to move past this pain and grow into a new chapter of my life, I'd be in your debt forever.
There's no need to go that far, but I appreciate the intention. Our advanced sessions will officially begin next week. In the coming day, we'll relocate you to a cell that's more convenient for our coming sessions.
That's fine. As long as I can get over this, then I'm fine.
Good. Then I say our session is over. Now, yet again, goodbye.
Wait! Can you just sit here for a little longer? We don't need to record this anymore. I just want to sit for a little bit with you around. It's comforting. Even if we're separated by glass.
Very well. If that's what will make you happy, I can spare you a minute more of my time. So, Pamela.
Shh. Just be quiet and sit. Please.
Session end.